Why does following your heart feel so risky, even though we know it's the right path? Hi, I'm Riley, and I'm a creative coach and collaborator who just has a passion to walk with people as they journey to figure out life and the balance between their creative callings, family, all the things that come up in our day to day, and how to knit those together in a really meaningful way. I just want to say thank you. We've had so many more people joining my channel. It's still lovely and wonderfully small and 130 subscribers right now, so thank you so much for following along. It makes such a huge difference when you hit that subscribe button. Over many years of working with passionate, creative people, I've come across lots of times when people have gotten stuck in their head, where the logic of a situation would tell them that staying where they are or taking the safe step to move forward is the right thing to do, but yet they're torn because somewhere deep inside their heart is calling them to something else, something maybe a little risky, something slightly outside of the norm. And this mirrors in my own experience as well. Many times I have taken a step from what seemed like a really kind of good paying industry or job and stepped into a completely new area altogether. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is I had kind of spent maybe 10 years working in IT, and I'd gotten to kind of really good kind of rate of pay, and my wife was like, oh, I really want to go and pursue a degree in art. And we weren't married long, and it just seemed like an amazing opportunity to go and step outside of our comfort zone of living in Dublin. We went and moved to the south of Wales so she could take up a drawing degree in the University of Art in Swansea. And that was quite the step away. I stopped working in IT. Like, I went and got a job as a barista for £5 an hour, and the manager there couldn't understand why I wouldn't go and find a job paying 3 or 4 times as much in an IT company around the corner. But I really just wanted to make the money we needed to get by and kind of get home in the evening with the energy and push to sit down and make music and produce just on a laptop and a small amount of equipment that I brought with me. And that was just one of many moments when both myself and wife have chosen to follow our hearts and to really listen and dig into that. I mean, within 2 years, we'd moved to London, and my wife had an amazing opportunity to study at the University of the Arts London, a drawing degree there that was like considered world class. And again, that was taking a step in the right direction, following our hearts and finding something new. And living in London was unexpectedly great for both of us. And like, I got to work at Apple for about 8 years. And that was an amazing experience to explore my own journey, but to meet lots of wonderful creative people who I'm still in touch with today and really enjoy seeing their journeys. And I really feel my purpose is to walk alongside and journey with people. I get so much joy and pleasure out of hearing people's growth stories, hearing people's transformations and their aha moments of moving forward and connecting to what's deeply purposeful inside them. Since 2017, when we moved back from London and I'd been working for 2 years at Riot Games, my job came to an end as they were downsizing the department. And from that moment forward, I started thinking about what would it look like for me to do my own thing. I trained as a coach and I trained as a spiritual director. So I was already deeply connected, knowing that I wanted to help people and connect people's heart and their heads and their lives into one meaningful journey forward. It's been such a pleasure to be able to do that with so many people and to continue to hear their stories of growth and exploration. And that's what drives me and motivates me to do this. Yes, it's beautiful to see additional subscribers on the channel, but I only want to help one person. I just want to help you to find a connection between your head and your heart, to connect your intuition and your logic and your creativity and knit it and weave it into your life in a really meaningful and purposeful way. But I think it's very easy for the storyline, the script in our head hold us back and to tell us what to do. It's just trying to keep us safe. It's just trying to keep us doing the same thing. And that's what the head does. And it does it so well. And this is not an either or, the head or the heart. You have to find a way in which to be able to make space to hear the heart and to honor the call of the heart. That intuition that sits inside us, and to pursue it. And it will open up doors to amazing things. And yet the head is conditioned by what society says, what the expectations of our family and maybe even our friends. We're not used to seeing people changing and growing rapidly. I mean, that's a thing that happens to really small children. And there's a path, there's a trajectory for that. And when people step outside it, it can feel a little bit jarring and weird, but also it's beautiful and it's freeing. And what people get to do and explore is amazing. And I think our head changes over time. It changes what it focuses on such a regular basis. Even waking up the next morning, like with the light of the sun coming in, can kind of change your perception on that bad dream or that terrible thing you were thinking about during the night. And waking up and seeing a new day, it starts afresh. But I think the heart has a much more constant call. And if I think back to when I went to secondary school, that in the first year we all got to do art and music and try kind of creative endeavors. And at the end of the year, I was told I didn't have the chops to stay in the art class and I needed to pick something else. And the music class was already full. Like, I think that would have been a great option for me. I didn't really pursue it because I didn't really understand how important music was to me at that time. But it just left me feeling unfulfilled. And I started my own guitar lessons. And even that was unfulfilling because, like, my parents were like, oh, you should learn classical guitar and learn to read music. And I kind of just wanted to kind of jam out on an electric guitar and make as much noise as possible. And I mean, I eventually got there, but not without kind of falling into a lot of kind of preconceived traps. I wasn't really free to pursue things myself until I got much older. And I remember seeing my friends in the other classes and being like, oh, it's so, like my friend Peter, a really gifted artist, and just lovely to see him kind of prosper and grow. And my friend Colin, who went into the music class, and just like he really loved it. He got a lot out of it, and he's a fantastic guitarist. He still plays, and you know, I've always thought he was like one of the best guitarists I personally knew. Because he just continued to pursue it and go after it. I also think that my idea of creativity was shaped a lot by like my family. My mother is an amazing singer. I mean, she won the Feis Ceoil here in Ireland, and that's like a national singing competition. She's a very proficient cook. She's able to adapt her style to many different flavors and lots of different things, and she's brilliant at it. She's also amazing at kind of flower arranging, and she's been like decorating the church she goes to for decades and like gifting people with flowers for their weddings for years upon years upon years. But she would say she's not creative because like her idea of creativity is painting art that goes up on the wall. And my brother is an artist. He was afforded the opportunity to pursue that and go after it because there was a level of connection. But that was considered creativity and art, and all of the other things around it, even including music. And music was a huge part in our family life growing up. My dad plays guitar, like all of our family sang in the church choir. It was just really embedded. There was always music on in the house. I think that idea, that creativity was so just focused in on this idea of like putting a paintbrush into paint and putting it onto canvas, or picking up a pencil and drawing, that was considered creativity and art, and not all of the wonderful human expressions of creativity that we see and that I've come to appreciate since. And I don't know what that makes you feel. Maybe even the language of head versus heart is too much for you. Like, another way to think about it is logic versus intuition. And they're not exclusive, because I think we can list through things logically, and we can also listen to that intuition, that gut feeling, that calling that doesn't totally make sense to the logical brain. I think it's explored a lot in popular culture, particularly when we think about the hero's journey. And it's kind of a phrase I'm sure you've heard Joseph Campbell attributed to, and he wrote a book called The Journey of a Thousand Faces, and it kind of documents this journey of this kind of novice, beginner, usually young person who doesn't know very much other than they've got this grand dream to some bigger reality. And it's not always about creativity. And I think the story that resonated most for me as a child was seeing Luke Skywalker growing up on Tatooine, tending to the moisture farm of his aunt and uncle, and like even the scene where they're having food and he's saying, oh, he's kind of thinking about, daydreaming about being in a starfighter and, kind of being landed back to reality and like, oh, you need to look after the droids and all these things need to get done and there's no time for this exploration and daydreaming. And I think that that's where it can often start for us. Our school, our society, our culture, our family can go, well, this is safe and this is simple and this is where we begin. But I think so many of us, and I'm not just saying it because I'm generalizing, I've talked to tens if not hundreds of people, either leading them in teams or coaching them directly, and hearing people say that there's something deep down, something that they want to move, something where they feel like I could move into this space, but I'm kind of afraid because my head's saying something else, and it'll be hard to explain to my family and I'm not sure if I'm brave enough. I know all of those things are true and they're reality, but I also think that there's a not so hidden cost of not following your heart. I think when we don't follow our heart, we're not being really true to ourselves and true to our calling. And the world doesn't need another copy of somebody else. The world needs you. It needs you to show up truly 100% as you are, in as much as you're able to explore and express. And I do think that it's really brave to follow those things, to follow those callings, to follow your heart. But I do think it leads us to a wonderful reward of something new. Some of the ways I personally have experienced not following my heart is I just have a general malaise, a general discontent in life that I'm not doing anything for me. I'm not pursuing the thing that, brings me alive. And I totally get that it's possible to have a job and to go to work and to put 40 to 60 hours into something that's going to pay the bills and it's going to allow you to have a life. And that's a very valid way of thinking and working. But I think we need to find a space in our week to put a little bit of energy into the thing that's important to us. And I think it'll pay dividends in your mental health, dividends in being able to feel like you're moving in a direction and a journey that you're totally in control of, that you're able to express some more of what is the true essence of you as a person, regardless of whether that ever comes to light and turns into something that you're going to share and put out into the world. It's not even about it turning into something. It's about you being able to get that idea out. When we listen to our heart, and not just listen to our heart, but start to act on that prompting, we open the door to discover joy and creativity and a sense of purpose. And I think when we're connected to those things, even if it's just for 15 minutes a day, or even 15 minutes a week, we're able to knit that together with all of the other things. I have more than happily gone to work for the past 23 years to provide for my wife and family. And it's not about not doing my job, and it's not about not earning money, but it's about then making sure that in the evening and on the weekend, I carve out a little bit of time to have some space to pursue that thing that lights me up. As you can see over my shoulder, I just have a tiny desk sitting on a keyboard stand where I've got some music here at, and when I get a chance and when I put that time and effort in, I'm trying to make something that I really like and enjoy, and it's an expression of me. Like I've talked about this a little bit in other videos. I don't have a big studio. I don't have the money to afford that or to kit it out, and I don't have the time to do it. And I don't think that would ever necessarily make me any money. But that's not why I do it. I do it because it's a expression of me, and it lines up with a lot of the things that I really enjoy. And it's okay that it's just small, but it's me, and it's part of who I'm at, and it's part of the journey that I've been on. I think I'll talk about that journey another time. If you're still watching, let's step through a couple of things that are going to help you. 1, clear up some space so that you can hear your heart. 2, to then think about what would it look like to be a little bit braver. And then 3, a couple of things you can actually do to start exercising that and bringing it into being right now. Okay, first up. Now, I know this isn't everyone's bag, but I do find that when my head is flying with ideas and to-do lists, that's the last space where I can connect to the voice, my heart, my intuition, my gut feeling. It's much quieter because the head screams and the heart just kind of murmurs and whispers away all the time. For me, mindfulness and meditation practice has been really helpful. I've mentioned it before. Like, some of the simplest ways to access that is there's apps you can use on the phone, so Calm or Headspace. There's also a tool called Insight Timer, and you can use it for free. You don't have to sign up to their year of meditations. You can just go in and set a timer and set it to stop after like 10 or 15 minutes. And it's just helpful to stop and to reset, to put down your phone. If it helps to pick up a pen and to journal, do that. But to just sit with yourself. And it might be helpful to do it in those quiet moments, in the morning before the world wakes up, or in the evening before you go to bed, and just to have a few moments with yourself without the expectation of anything happening straight away. And I do know from talking to lots of people that this is hard to access. It is a journey, but I really believe that we need to make space to hear this cry of our heart. If you just want something really practical to try, I think the next step would be to get out a pen and a piece of paper and write down, what would you do if you were 10 times braver and money was no object? So I don't know if you ever fantasize about what you'd do if you win the lottery, but just for a minute, think about that nothing could stop you. Nothing was going to get in your way. If it helps, hit pause and do it right now. Write down a couple of things that you would pursue, that you would go after, that you would do. And if you can be a little bit more esoteric than that, just write down, what does my heart truly want? And sit with that question for a little time. It might even take days or weeks to be able to access that, but keep coming back to it, because I think it's really valuable to sit with that and understand it. And then I think you'll start to figure out how that thing aligns to your values, what's important to you, and then how are those things connected. And when we start to connect that voice with our values, then we start to give ourselves a real sense of inertia towards being able to make some change and to find the courage to step into trying something different. And if you've taken those first couple of steps and really listened to your heart and maybe even journaled about what that would look like to step into it, I think it's time to get brave. You just need to find 15 or 30 minutes to make some space for that. If you have to borrow an instrument from somebody, or you need to kind of beg someone to let them use their camera, whatever that looks like, just ask. People love to help. Also, starting small with limitations is really helpful. I mean, that's what happens like on the first day of every art class, and is to start with just the basics, a pen and a piece of paper. And that's true for so many things, that by limiting our expression, it forces creativity. It forces us to be like really clear. If we have every single option open to us, it can be mind-bending and almost impossible to figure out. So start small. Start with just a few minutes and just one or two tools or one or two ways to express yourself. I hope you found that helpful, and I'd love to hear your experience about that. DM me, let's have a chat. If you want to talk about this further, get in touch. Follow your heart. Your heart already knows the way. It's your job to trust it. Take a deep breath and jump into the creative. It'll be worth it.